Greetings, this is Dave Rogers here in Mumbai, India, and I have the great pleasure and privilege to be with Roshni. How are you, Roshni?
I'm great,
Is
Dave.
that the right pronunciation of your name?
Absolutely right.
And I understand it means light?
Yes, it means light in English.
Wow. The author of Angels Speak, Your Daily Dose of Divine Love. You've recently written a wonderful book, and I am curious about what inspired you to write Angels Speak?
It was 4 years back, rather now. Okay, when I started writing, it was 2011, which was my early stages of getting to know angels and starting to work as a practitioner, etc. And I was guided to start these messages on my healing page, which was Sparkling Angels Holistic Healing, to put up a message with an affirmation every day, which would be channeled as per the universal energies of that day. And I started putting it out, and there were many people who started messaging back as to how these messages were helping them transform or transcend certain aspects of their lives, and how many of them were absolutely in sync to something that was going on in their lives on that very day or around that period of time. So that gave a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that these messages were helping people. Then they spread further to sending these messages on the BBM and other email groups, etc., who wanted to receive these messages on a daily basis, besides on the FB page. And it was around 8 to 9 months of these messages, which were every day being channeled and put out onto the page, that I received in my meditation a message stating that a given point in time, as per the divine timing, these messages will become a book for humanity to be ushered into the new phase of life.
Wow. Do you hear that? You started writing daily messages, and within 7, 8, 9 months, it really gave you the contents of a book.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what one of the things that I really encourage our listeners to hear is that it can start with just a little bit of writing. It can start with a daily thought. It could start with just sharing some insights, some distinctions. And by doing it and doing it and doing it, you can become an author.
Absolutely. And in fact, I insist all my workshop participants that they should have something called an angelic journal. And every day when they are praying, any thoughts that come, however irrational they seem at that time, or however outrageous goals and thoughts and plans come into their mind, they should journal it. Even every sign that they receive, they should journal it so that they can relate to it at a point in time, but also that some point in time they would have it ready to become their own story.
This is absolutely wonderful. I really hope our listeners are really starting. In fact, some of you might be starting right now with some taking some notes and maybe starting your journal, and perhaps your book might come out of you from starting today. So if you don't have a book, maybe you want to just open up your phone and start taking some notes right now. Let's start off with a little question because I don't sense that you've been spiritual your whole life. In fact, if I was to ask the question, what triggered you to explore your spirituality? What types of messages would you share from that question?
The thing is that I was not a conscious seeker. When I say consciously, because the mind was not seeking. And the soul for sure was possibly preordained to seek in this lifetime. And thus it so happened that in my hectic social butterfly life of almost at that time 19 years in films, media, and the Indian film industry, I started just opening up to the surge of messages that came from nowhere. I was intuitive or had that divine connect. I was quite a rebel in my Orthodox Zoroastrian family religious background because I never believed that I had to go to the fire temple 10 times a day, 5 times a day to be with God, and that God was within me. And what's the use of going to the temple if I am, backbiting or talking ill about people, wishing ill about someone? God has got nothing to do with that. And if I have to sit on my bed and just talk to God for even that 2 minutes and say, thank you for everything that you've given me, is my prayer to God. And that's the biggest prayer that I always thought was. So I did have experiences through my childhood, etc., but never gave them the connotation of being spiritual in the essence of for me to do anything with them. They happened, and I felt, oh, I'm blessed that this happened with me. And it remained there. until a point in time where, as I said earlier, that these messages started coming for random people around me. So there was a message that, okay, tell this person not to resign because next 3 months he's not going to get a job. So I said, now how do I tell this person? He would just say, oh, why the hell are you telling me this? And I said, you know what, there's something I just want to, today the market is bad and, we must not just give up jobs. So don't resign or so, right now. So he just looked at me very spookily and said, why are you saying that to me? Because tomorrow morning I was giving my resignation to my boss. And I said, oh, no, 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 don't do that. I think you should hold on and give more thought to this. And then it so happened that it was with a friend and with many other people. But what triggered was, to my essence, I had a brush with death with a very prolonged illness in 2005, 2006. And at that point of time, while I was recovering, I met a lot of faith healers, primarily two, I would say. And that was my first very direct connect with faith healing in its essence. Though I had a very brief childhood experience to something that had happened in its paranormal space. But again, it was all brushed off for the rest of the major part of life. And I feel that was my trigger of opening up. It was almost a walk in of a different energy taking over from that period because I saw myself withdrawing from certain people in life. I saw myself not doing many things that I otherwise did. I saw myself switching off and not seemingly letting the other person know that I've switched off. So there were many differences in me that I realized until 2009 that these gush of messages just started happening. And at that time, I was going through a phase which was, I would say, the ground zero phase. Closing of my marriage, closing of financial zero to leaving a job to everything. And then 2010 was my turnaround of a new life.
Sounds awesome. I had a question about tragic to magic. What does that mean to you?
Tragic to magic means to me that all the brickbats that life throws at us seemingly, which we actually try to duck, I would rather be that cricketer who catches every brick and makes a bridge to reach the other end.
That's a lovely metaphor. Very nice. Building bridges.
Building bridges.
Here's a little question about what used to frighten you and how did you overcome the fear?
What used to frighten me was the financial insecurity, always, because I come up from a very moderately living, semi middle class kind of a Zoroastrian family. And my father worked really, really hard at a very meager salary all his life, still managed to save and give me great education to everything. And I realized that he gave me everything that I needed. He may not have been able to give me everything that I wanted. And at a very early age, I knew the difference between these two words. And as I was in my seventh and eighth standard, I had these big eyes. Something always inside me told me that this space that I am in is not my space as is, kind of a thing. And I used to, while studying, go on keeping on babbling to my mother, we're going to have a very big house and 3, 4 servants and we'll have a car. And she used to hit me on the head and say, study right now, concentrate, stop all these, silly, outrageous thoughts. And I would say, someday I will have, and I would get back to my thing. But inside me, I always knew that, okay, just because my father has not been able to give me everything that I wanted, does not mean I cannot get it for myself. And I have to do something that I can get everything that I need and want with the same energy. So at a very early age, I had to start working because I couldn't complete my college due to financial aspects. And then, but this thing actually, which was a running belief pattern in the family, and which many Indians have at their end, is that money is evil. Money makes you bad. Money makes you arrogant. Money makes you this. All moneyed people are evil and corrupt and so and so. And being moneyed is really not good, and God doesn't like moneyed people. So that was a belief system that I grew up with. And I realized that today, when I do the abundance workshops, 99% of the people who come have got these belief systems.
I opened up your book. I flipped it open because I know that that's one of your exercises you like people to do. And I just happened to go to page 269, day 158, and it just happened to say, I have a wonderful and healthy relationship and understand with money energy. Money flows to me with ease and grace. I am empowered money manager.
Awesome!
So that's just a nice way to play with that dance that both of us have had very similar upbringings with parents that have a certain relationship with money that definitely had an embedding in us, and we have an opportunity to rewire ourselves, perhaps shift again tragic to magic. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that strategy, because there are strategies you can use with your wonderful book, Angels Speak, your daily dose of divine love. And some people listening today, they're really looking to develop their intuition. They're feeling connected, or they feel that life could be more. What 2 or 3 tips would you share to assist people to trust or develop intuition?
The first and foremost step that I am guided to share with everybody who comes into my energetic orbit of life, be it students, clients, or whoever, is I tell them, forget trusting God and this and that. Start and begin trusting yourself. And start trusting yourself in the silliest, most minuscule, most trivial of the matters. So it could be trusting yourself that you look good in this dress. Irrespective of what you may have heard before from other people, start trusting that I carry this well. And it begins from little things. What we do is we try to build a skyscraper from 20 floors down, not knowing that we have to dig 20 floors down to build that skyscraper.
Very nice, yes.
So if we try to begin, that charity begins at home, and I need to begin from the silly things first, because a man's ascension is directly connected, what I feel, in the way we behave in the small things of life, because the ego operates there. I can do this like this, and I can do this like that. So when that I is broken at that ground level, to start believing I can carry it like this and I am great in that, it starts creating a domino effect in the larger aspects. So that same person who has been trying to do that every day with his shirt or with her dress code at office suddenly gets the courage to speak up at an office meeting or a conference, or go up to her boss to say something. So intuition begins in trusting yourself. Once we trust the self, then the next exercise that they can do is maybe with the book Angels Speak, or with any book that they have if they don't have the book at this point in time. You know that the page, the total number of pages in this book is 200, for example. Then just take the book in your hand and say, I want my guardian angels to help me exactly go to the page and know which page I have opened. Cut the number of pages into small categories like 1 to 50, say maybe. So you open up a page and don't cheat and look at the page and just put it down on the table, and then ask the angels, okay, have I opened a page between 1 to 50? Have I opened a page between 51 to 50? But after asking each time, stay in silence and concentrate on the center of your chest area and see the first yes or no that is popping up. Without any analysis or confusion, the first yes or no. Once you get that yes or no, move to the next category. Is it 51 to 100? If you get a no, move ahead. Supposing you get a yes on 101 to 150, still complete it from till the last pages that it is, and then go back onto that page category which you got a yes for. When you get a confirmation of that yes from 101 to 150, break it into smaller bits. Have I opened between 101 to 120? Have I opened between 121 to 140, like that, till you narrow down to the top 10, top 5, and then see if you have opened up exactly and how near most are you.
Yes.
It's a wonderful practice,
Oh.
and it actually is like polishing gold, metal, to become, there is a sandpaper, and you keep polishing and you keep polishing until it shines. And at some point in time, you will strike gold and you will be exactly at that page.
Beautiful. So this is again some tips to really develop, to reconnect, to connect, to reactivate relationship with intuition.
Yes.
Beautiful. You're going to be writing more books. In fact, this book has been already out of, it's sold out. It's been republished. It's popular here in India. Are there ways for our international listeners to get a hold of it?
Yes, it's available on Amazon and through our own publisher's website. All international cargo and shipping is done as well. So even though the local Amazon might not be having it due to international tie-ups, if anybody would like to avail of it, then we could give the URL. They could go to lifepositive.com under the book section and they could type Angel Speak, and voila, the book reached Canada in 6 days of booking it on the publisher's site.
Fantastic. And what do people have to look forward to? What new books are coming out, or travels that you're going to be doing, or ways that people can connect with you?
I would like to travel the globe and do these live angel readings through this book. The magic of this book is that it has so much of this potent light source energy of God, the angels, and all of divinity put into it, that it is instantaneous in its effect. Nobody needs to connect with any name, age, and take time or look at charts and do something. Just holding or even having the book in your vicinity of your energy orbit or your auric field, you could just pick it up and you open up and you will land exactly at the thing that you need to listen to live from right now.
Beautiful. And it's the first Indian book, Divine Oracle Messages and Affirmations. You've studied this, you've traveled, you've met with people, you've studied the different dimensions of communication. In sharing one last comment or one last piece of advice or sharing, what would it be for people today on March 17th, 2016?
As a message for today,
Yes.
page 434 from the book Angels Speak, and we'll have Dave Rogers read it out.
Say again the page.
434. Day 434.
Okay.
Sorry, page 434. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm lost with the angels.
434.
134.
So the message for everybody today from Angels Speak, it's day 330 on page 434. And the message is, see beyond the physical circumstances and the illusions your mind creates. There is an underlying divine order in each of these events. Accept it and be willing to move away from the mirage that you have created. Ultimately, there is always one truth to every matter, even though perceptions of that truth may be many. The affirmation to share, I will allow you to share the affirmation, please.
The affirmation, actually, I would like to just give an insight.
Sure.
That the affirmation works with the message, that the message is something that we need to heal, transcend, address, or look into in our life at that point in time. And the affirmation is the tool to transcend or heal that aspect. So the affirmation can be done 7 times in the morning and 7 times at night to transcend that aspect of life. And the affirmation is, I tear away all the veils and see the divine order clearly. I welcome, accept, and embed divine guidance in my everyday life. I repeat the affirmation. I tear away all the veils and see the divine order clearly. I welcome, accept, and embed divine guidance in my everyday life. How beautiful this is, Dave, because you asked for a general question for the world. And this is completely applicable to anybody, that we in our everyday life tear away the veils of the mirage that we create for our own lives. And it could be the mirage in any aspect and nothing in particular at the same time. And it could be every aspect of our lives at the same time. So, wonderfully enough, the angels have given this message for the world, and it would be great for each and every person to, kind of look into their lives every day and try to just note down three things that they cannot embrace and they cannot, be uh, kind of acceptance of, and three things that they fear in life. If they only focus on these three aspects every day and open up a page, I'm sure they will be able to move towards transcendence in all those really very soon.
I absolutely agree. It's a wonderful way to tap into intuition, respect the multiverse, respect oneself, and tie into some beautiful concepts of divine timing, divine guidance, and the divinity in you and I, and
Absolutely.
the wholeness of it all.
Absolutely. But one more thing, which is a special, two more things which are a speciality of this book is that while this submission to the publishers was happening, they guided that there has to be pen sketched 15 channeled illustrations of the 15 archangels with an exclusive message from that archangel's energy, which has to go in the book. And I was asked to put on my WhatsApp students group as to who is good, do you know anybody good in illustrations? And I just did my human actions and just retreated, knowing that in the divine timing, the person will be God. And yes enough, at 11:30 that night, one of my students reported back stating, I'm good in illustrations, what can I do? And then these illustrations were channeled through energetic transmission and attunement, where my students sitting in another different city right near Delhi in Lucknow and I sitting in Mumbai were putting together these 15 archangels onto paper. And there were many lessons there, the interesting stories there in the book, but this was one speciality. The other speciality is that we always find people actually getting dissuaded with spirituality or with things that they find that it's too profound and it's too over the top and it's over my head and it's bounced off and I don't understand. But this is such a heart centered, colloquial, like lowest denominator book that even a 7, 8 year old, if he's, told the message, he will be able to absorb it. And we have a glossary of these, as you said, divine timing, etc. It's one of the first books which has a divine glossary put together for these terminologies, so that somebody who is not even tapped into this spiritual book world does not feel isolated, that, oh, I cannot do anything with this book because I do not know what it's all about. So we have tried to, with divine guidance, facilitate that each person is, having that birthright to connect to the angels, and nobody is specially blessed or less blessed to connect with them. And that's a very important message, that just because I have this connect with them does not mean I'm specially blessed. We all have it, it's latent in us. It's just that we have not tapped into that reservoir to connect with them.
Well, on behalf of myself, our listeners today, and anyone who gets connected to this wonderful wisdom, I'd like to thank you very much. Namaste and well wishes.
Namaste to you and all your wonderful listeners as well.